They tell the story, the city of Chelm was a small town. They say it was wise people, but the neighbors, resentful, they created this myth of the fools of Chelm. There was a farmer on Chelm. He had a small little farm. You can imagine how small it was, but it was his farm. It was his baby. He inherited it. He inherited it from his parents, grandparents. He knew every grain of soil. One day, a visitor comes from the United States who has thousands of acres of farmland in Iowa. And he shows him around his little Chelm farm. They sit down to dinner and he says, "What do you think about my farm here in Chelm?" He says, "Your farm, very nice and cute, but it's so tiny." Tiny? How big is your farm back in Iowa? How is a big city farmer going to explain to a little shtetl town farmer? So he gives him a point of reference. He says, "Well, my farm back in Iowa, it takes me all day to travel with my tractor from one end of the farm to the other." The Chelm farmer looks at him with compassion, empathy, and says, "Don't feel bad. I once had a tractor like that too." He couldn't fathom such a large farm, so he was convinced the problem was the vehicle, that he once also had a shmata jalopy like that took him all day to crank up, to move from here to there. We each have our farm, our perspectives, our prejudices, our preconceived notions, our stereotypes, and it's our horizon. If you were standing on the ground and someone said, "What does the horizon look like?" you would give one description. You go up 20 feet on a mountain, a different description. You go to the peak of the mountain, it's a whole different answer. They're all true, but it's all based on your subjective perspective. If you ask somebody, if you ask yourself, are you narrow-minded, closed-minded, or subjective? Most people would say no. But remember, part of our subjectivity makes us think we're objective. So the true answer has to be, based on my perspective, here's what I think. Well, our perspectives changed a lot in the last few months. A few months ago, someone asked you what the horizon looked like. You'd give them your schedules and plans and where the stock market is going, where the economy is going, where your travel plans, your summer plans, and so on. Now, that's been disrupted. That's been upended, destabilized. So we look for deeper perspectives, and that's why bittul, absorbing a higher reality, comes into play. Understanding you have your farm, and perhaps we have to look out of the box to a bigger farm. People love talking about out of the box, but first you need to know the parameters of your box before you get beyond your box. Can you see beyond your farm? And that's exactly the challenge, and the answer is absolutely, if you allow yourself. But you need to be able to challenge your preconceived notions, your perspectives, and that's what we do during these times of quarantine.